Hey, it's Chris, Brian, and Bernie here from Resolve Technology. And today we're going to talk about refurbished laptops and desktops, which we sometimes recommend for the more budget-friendly businesses that, may not be able to buy a new product, but they're still looking for something that, lasts a couple of years and get them by maybe. So typically we recommend Dell as in terms of laptops, desktops, and servers. And Chris brought, the Dell refurbished site up on his screen. And that's just one spot where you can look for this stuff. I'd say be careful about eBay and that sort of thing. And Amazon, again, a little bit better, but just you got to be careful of these random sites. Whereas Dell is a little bit more safe. And, there's less likely to be things like malware and that sort of thing because they have a process to wipe all these machines before they're shipped out to consumers and businesses. All right, Chris, take it away. It's yours.
Yeah. So yeah, no, the other good thing with Dell Refurbish is usually if you do run into issues, they'll take it right back and send you a new one pretty quickly. They're usually pretty good with that process. And then as for, it's good that you mentioned malware and things like that. I mean, we'd recommend you wipe this with your own Windows image anyways once you got it delivered, regardless. Um,
Definitely.
but as you can see here, so some people might be confused by this. So you'll see Dell Precision. A lot of people hear Dell Precision and think it's like a CAD workstation, like a Precision Tower. They actually have a laptop line that's like a CAD quality, high end. That's Precision. But as you can see here, $529 for like a 15-inch screen on a Dell, that looks like a pretty good deal. It has 32 gigs of RAM. It looks like it's Windows 11 compatible. You can grab different SSD size, integrated graphics or Quadro, you know. And then it gives you like a refurbished grade, I guess, like grade A, B, C. So there's that as well.
Let me just jump in here. Like, normally we haven't seen anything that's really in bad shape or anything like that, even if it's a lower grade. Like Chris said, the thing you want to remember is you want to make sure you wipe it and reinstall Windows cleanly. The other thing is, Chris mentioned the fact that they'll take it back. The other thing is, they give you like I think it's like 100 days. Maybe you can see it in there. Like 100-day warranty typically, or 100 days to send it back. But also, if you look up the service tag, some of the stuff, because it's off lease from bigger companies, might still have a warranty attached to it, right? Or you can buy a warranty. So
Yeah.
yeah, as Chris is highlighting, a lot of stuff is on,
Oh
was
no,
leased directly from Dell.
yeah, no, I'm trying to see if I can find that. Any kind of like return policy, like you said, like 100 days, whatever it is. I thought I've seen it somewhere before, but I'm not finding it.
Yeah. Chris, you might mention one of the things that we have to look out for with these more than new systems is the type of processor and the reason why you look at the processor and the amount of memory. Like, you can always add memory fairly easy, but not a CPU, not a processor. So like, what are
Right.
you looking for in terms of CPU for compatibility?
Generally, like, most of these are going to have i5s in them. As long as it's 8th gen or newer, it should support Windows 11. And I mean, if you're ever unsure, let me see if I can find it here. There is like a Windows.
Like, I see this one here, it says i5-8400H. How would I tell what generation it is?
Okay, so the 8400 there, that's 8th generation. The 10850, the naming on, Intel and AMD processors are getting, you get the 5950, the 59, you know what I mean? The 69, the numbers are kind of, a blur to some people. But when you, at least with their naming, at least with Intel's naming, the 10, you see the 10400 or the 10800, that's just, that's 10th gen processors.
So what did you say you need with Windows 11? What generation?
8th gen or newer.
Eighth gen or newer. So if you see that eight in there, eight,
And
nine,
and there's
10,
more too. There's Intel Atom, Celeron. You don't see those much anymore, but
Yeah, you wanna stay away from that stuff. You want the i5, i7, right, Chris?
Yeah. Or even an i3. I mean, the core counts are going up now with the newer architecture. You know, you're seeing i5s with like 10 cores and 20 threads. So,
Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't see that a few years back.
Now, if you flip back to the other tab,
The outlet site?
yeah, so you have the outlet site and you have the refurb off lease site. So what we found is typically the outlet site is gonna be maybe some newer stuff. And it's also gonna have like this, most of the stuff carries a 3-year warranty by default, right? So
Yeah.
that's a little bit nicer, a little bit safer. Whereas the off lease refurbished site is gonna be cheaper items, but you really got to hone in on process speed and make sure you have enough memory and stuff. And just to reiterate, like how much memory are we looking for in a laptop?
At least 16 gigabytes.
At
I
least
mean,
16.
you could do Google searches, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that say, I don't know, you only need 8 gigs. I think that's really, really pushing it. Like I wouldn't want to work on something with 8 gigs. Once you have the browser up, Windows consumes more RAM now. You got Outlook open, you got a bunch of folders in there synchronizing. You know, you'd be taxing, you'd be memory bottleneck pretty quickly.
Okay. So two big takeaways that I'm going to leave people with. One is know what generation the processor is, and Chris talked about that a little bit. And number two is, what was I going to say number two was? I mean, you need to look at the screen size and, the weight and that sort of thing.
Oh,
But the what?
the battery, if it's a
The
two-in-one
battery,
device.
all that. You can find new batteries, but there was a second thing that I was going to mention in terms of, so CPU is a big one, so you can upgrade to Windows 11. Oh, the second thing was what you mentioned about wiping it. So it might come from the factory already preloaded with an image from Dell, and they might have already wiped it, but we never trust that.
Yeah.
So we just put a clean install of Windows, and you're less likely to run into different driver issues and things like that. So have your IT people wipe it. All right, Chris, we're going to wrap it up. Have a good
Yep.
one.
You too.